Hi, it's Isabel, and today is the first day of the 1000 Doors Readathon. Well, technically it's already the second day because it started on Sunday, November 1st, but things that start on a Sunday confuse me, so I'm starting on a Monday and we'll just pretend that it is the first day. In case you don't know what the 1000 Doors Readathon is, it is a readathon hosted by Emma from Drinking by My Shelf, Meg from Meg with the Books, and Tasmin from Tea Books and Tasmin, and they have created this really fun kind of choose your own adventure path where based on the video you start from you get a prompt, and then based on the book that you choose and I think how much you enjoyed it, you will then get to the next prompt, etc, etc. And the readathon technically runs throughout the whole month of November, but I think most of the activity will be in the first week of November. So I will try and finish it in the first week of November. I'm not sure if I can manage because I think there are 5 prompts in total, so that means that I would have to read 5 books in a week. Not sure if I can do that, but I will try my best. If you're curious, I will link all of the announcement videos from the hosts in the description because they explain it a lot better than I did just now. So if you're curious, you can go and check out their announcement videos. But basically what I will do now is watch all of their starting videos to see what prompts they came up with and choose one prompt that will give me the first book that I will have to read for the readathon. Okay, so I have now watched all 3 of their Start Here videos and I have decided to go with Emma's prompt because her prompt was the word 5 and she said that you can interpret that in any way you want, and I just instantly had an idea of what I want to read for this, so I know it's somewhere up there, let me quickly grab it. So the book I grabbed is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, and I have talked about this in my recommending books to read on Halloween video. And the reason why I think this is perfect for the prompt 5 is because it's actually a short story collection and it contains exactly 5 stories. And I also gave it 5 stars the first time I read it, and I am in the mood to read some creepy graphic novel short stories. So yes, this will be my first pick for the 1000 Doors Readathon. So I will go away and read this now and let you know what I thought of it and then find out what my next prompt will be. And I am actually currently on my lunch break and I really wanted to go for a walk while it's still nice and warm outside, so I might just take this with me and actually read a story or 2 while I am out in the woods. It is now 9 PM and I have finished rereading Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, and it was just as deliciously creepy as the first time I read it, so of course I again gave it 5 stars. And I absolutely do still stand by my recommendation to read this if you're in the mood for something quick and creepy, and also actually kind of weirdly beautiful, even though it might also slightly scare you. So now that I've finished this, it is time to find out what my next prompt will be. So let me grab my laptop and find Emma's video again so that she can tell me where I have to go next.
The one that best represents the star rating that you gave this book.
Okay, so I just have to click on the door that represents the star rating that I gave the book. So I gave it 5 stars, so let's see where that leads me. Oh, I've landed on Meg with Books channel. Oh, Meg is giving her prompts in memes and I love it. Whew, okay, that's actually more difficult than expected. So the meme that Meg gave us was the I'm back meme. So I now have to find the book where a character returns, or I have to return to a book. Something like that. I've also just filmed my TBR for the month, so I feel like I should get to one of those probably and I have an idea. I'm not entirely sure if this should count, but in her video, Meg said that you could pick a book that you have previously put down or DNF'd and that you are now returning to. And I have kind of paused reading Night Film to start this challenge and read Through the Woods in between. But I was reading Night Film before, so would it be fair to say that I am now returning to it? Because it was on my October TBR and I didn't quite manage to finish it. I've already started it. I also don't know if that counts as a book read for the readathon, but I don't think the creators would mind, so I think it should still count. And so I think I will say that I will come back to Night Film and finish this one, because I am enjoying it. I'm surprisingly not completely drawn in. I would have expected to want to read this a lot more quickly, given that it's kind of a thriller horror book. I am intrigued by the mystery, but I'm not, like, I don't have the feeling that I have to continue constantly, but I do want to figure out what's going on, and I feel like there are some really unexpected twists coming up, hopefully. So let's see. Opening the next prompt once you've read the book that you're currently reading is really motivating me to get through the books as quickly as possible. So I hope that this will give me the push I needed to just fly through the second half of Night Film. It's now 2 days later, and so I thought I would update you on my reading. I still haven't managed to finish Night Film, but I am on page 500 now, and I have to say I'm still not as invested as I would have hoped to be at this point. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like everything is way too easy. The investigator guy just goes around interviewing people and they all just tell him the information he wanted from them, and it's just very easy and nothing really horrifying has happened yet. I mean, I did just read a sequence that was kind of nightmare-ish, but then again I wasn't really scared, so I don't know. This definitely isn't horror, and it also isn't as thrilling as I would have hoped. So, I mean, I still have, let's see, around like 90 pages left, so I'm really hoping that there will be some big twist or reveal that will turn this thing completely around. I have kind of a theory of where this might be going. I'm not sure how I would feel about it if it actually went there. Also, I'm kind of hoping that it won't, because I just do like to be surprised. And I don't know, I was just hoping for more twists and turns, I guess. There are still some clues that haven't been resolved yet, so chances are that there will be some big twist reveal towards the end. But for having read 500 pages already, I have to say I'm not that impressed yet. I don't know, I feel like this is one of those books that the ending will really decide how I feel about it. So I will try and finish it today if possible. I mean, I know it looks like it's the middle of the night already, but it's actually only 4 o'clock, so I do still have some time. I mean, I have another seminar today and also other stuff to do, but I think 80 pages should be doable. And I also just really want to finish it to get to the next prompt, so I will do my best. Hello! I don't know why I say hi to you every time, because for you I've only been gone for a few seconds. Well, for me it's been a full day. It's now Thursday evening and I have finally finished reading Night Film, which matches my outfit today. So yeah, I did finally manage to finish this rather big book, and I feel a bit let down by it. I don't know why I feel like that. I just always feel like if a book is like 600 pages long, it has to be amazing for it to be worth reading that many pages. So maybe that's why it didn't go the way I expected it. Well, I mean, it did go that way, but then it turned out that that was like the wrong route that like the investigator was going down, and then it like went in a different direction, and then it ended on kind of a mysterious note, so you didn't quite find out what was really going on like in the last few pages, I feel like. And I just don't know. I wasn't that impressed with it. I'm trying to put into words what it was that I didn't like about the book. I think one thing is that I didn't really like the protagonist, like the investigator type figure. And I'm not saying that you always have to like the protagonist, but if you have to read 600 pages from his perspective, it can get kind of annoying because he was just very self-centered, and I don't know, I just didn't really care for him, which is also unfortunate because then I also didn't really care like whether he survives or not, or whether he finds the answers to the questions that he has, because I was like, you're just an annoying guy and I don't really care about your life, which might be mean, but that's just the way I felt about the protagonist. And then maybe that's just a me thing, but like there were like so many words written in italics for, in my opinion, no reason, especially in the dialogue. And I get that it's to emphasize words, but it actually rather annoyed me because it didn't match with the way that I imagined the dialogue. And then it like threw me off and like took me out of the story. I don't know, maybe that's a personal pet peeve I didn't know I had until now. Other than that, I think the book did have some like nice moments of reflecting on life and art, but some of the passages were also explaining it a bit too much to me, like explaining to me what the book meant or what the plot meant, which I don't enjoy. And I think that also stretched it unnecessarily. I think the book could have been a good like 200 pages shorter and it would have still worked, because towards the end I felt like it just didn't find an ending. It just came up with like ending after ending after ending. I was like, yeah, I mean, just pick one and be done with it. So I don't know, it's a bit frustrating. I always get frustrated when I don't like a big book, because it's so many hours of reading put in, and then it doesn't even pay off. Oh well. But from this book, I will, by answering a question about it, get to the next prompt. And I've actually already looked at the video, and the question was whether or not I saw the ending coming. And the answer is no. I already watched the next prompt video. It took me to Tasmin's channel, and Tasmin's prompt was to find the book that reminds me of Marvel, so either the movies or the comics. And I've spent the last half hour trying to find a book that matches that prompt. The first one that came to my mind is because one of my favourite Marvel movies is Thor Ragnarok. So I instantly thought about Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, but I've already read that one and I don't feel particularly in the mood for rereading it. So what I'm thinking is I might pick The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, because that is, as far as I know, about a guy who does some sort of scientific experiment and by accident finds a way to make himself invisible. And I think it doesn't go particularly well for him. And I feel like the theme of like science and technology and what it can do, but also the dangers of it, are often kind of a theme in the Marvel movies, especially in the Iron Man movies, I think. And also I think The Invisible Man sounds a bit like a title that a Marvel movie could have. So yes, I will go with that one. And it is unfortunately already rather late. It's 10 o'clock at night already, so I don't think that I can finish it today, but I will try and read at least a good portion of it. I've been really bad at updating you on what I've read the past few days because it is already Sunday now. So let me quickly update you on what I managed to read since I last spoke to you. I finished The Invisible Man yesterday and I found out that it actually fit the Marvel prompt better than I had expected. There is actually a character called Marvel in the book and he's kind of the Invisible Man's assistant for a while. So that was a fun coincidence. Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy the book as much as I had hoped I would. I think it might actually be my least favorite H.G. Wells novel so far. When I say least favorite, I still gave it 3 stars. It's just, I don't think that it is as brilliant as War of the Worlds, which is, I think, my favorite of Wells' books, but it's still a good book and I think it has some interesting themes, but overall it wasn't as impressive, I think, as some of his other works. And then the question that took me to my next prompt for the readathon was whether or not I liked the protagonist, and that was very easy to answer because I absolutely hated the protagonist, and that was also kind of the point. Because the protagonist, who is the Invisible Man, is very selfish. He made all of these scientific experiments to find a way to make himself invisible, and then he did that because he thought that it would give him an advantage, because he could just disappear and pretend like all of his debt and everything never existed, and he thought that terrorizing people would be what he would like to do with his life. So yeah, I did not like that guy. So answering no to the question of whether or not I liked the protagonist took me back to Emma's channel, and she gave us the prompt of yellow, just the colour yellow. The book that I chose to read for that prompt is 84 Charing Cross Road. It might not be obvious why this would be a good fit, but bear with me, I have my reasons. So this book is actually just the letters that Helen Hanff wrote back and forth with a bookseller in England. And in Switzerland, where I live, the colour of the postal service is yellow. So yellow always reminds me of letters and packages, and that's why I picked this book for yellow. And I've actually also already read this morning because it's a very short book and, as I said, consists of letters, and it was very heartwarming and lovely to read, as I expected. It really shows a great love of books from both, obviously, the booksellers and Helen Hanff, and it's just lovely how these people kind of found each other and then wrote each other's these letters because of books, because originally Helen Hanff wrote the bookshop a letter because she was looking for secondhand editions of some books, and that's how they kind of got talking. And the letters in this book are over a 20-year period, so a really long time, and I find it so impressive how people can bond over books and form real friendships through letters. And it really made me want to write letters myself. I haven't written a letter in such a long time, and I think it's kind of a shame that we don't write letters anymore today, so I might have to go and write a letter now. So from this we get to what I believe is already my last prompt, which is also lucky because it is already Sunday and I had hoped to finish this readathon within a week, so that means that the last book I have to read entirely today. And the question to get to my last prompt is whether or not I liked the setting of the book that I just read. I'm not entirely sure what you could say the setting of 84 Charing Cross Road is, but it is 1940s, 50s, 60s Britain and America, and it's also kind of set in a bookshop. I mean, not really, but like a bookshop is a big part of the book. So I would say yes, I did very much enjoy the setting. So let's see where this answer gets me. I have landed on Monica Kim's channel, who is one of their guest hosts, and her prompt is language. So a book that maybe has like a special language in it, or a book that has been translated, something like that. I do have a few books somewhere around that are translated. A lot of them are also short, but I have a different book in mind that I might want to read for this, and it is Taaqtumi, which I picked in my cards TBR, so I would really like to get to it, and I think it's only like 150 pages or something, and it's short stories, so I'm confident that I could read all of them today. And the reason why I think it would fit for language is that the title, Taaqtumi, is an Inuktitut word, which I have looked it up and I've forgotten. I think it translates to something with darkness. Yes, here it says, Taaqtumi is an Inuktitut word that means in the dark. So the title is in a different language that I don't know, so I think that might count for language. I don't think that the stories themselves are translated. Maybe they have something to do with language, I don't know. But I think even though it might not be the best fit for the prompt, that is the book that I most want to read right now, so I will pick Taaqtumi. And the fact that it's short stories is actually perfect because I have a few other things that I have to do today, so I can just read a few stories here and there between doing other things, and I hope that that way I will manage to read all of them over the course of the day. I've read the first 3 stories in Taaqtumi and they're quite different from each other. The first 2 were more kind of traditional supernatural horror stories, I would say, while the third one was more of a post-apocalyptic type of thing. They were all really suspenseful, and that's also why I got through them really quickly, because they are very much the making your heart race kind of stories. They were all rather short, so they jumped right into the action and the suspense, and they all just kept that suspense going right to the end, which I really like. And as far as horror short stories go, I do really enjoy those that kind of really keep the suspense high throughout, because that's just really exciting to read, and I feel like that is really what I was in the mood for at the moment. They also all had some type of element of like Inuit culture and communities and living in the far north in the Arctic, and that is also always an element that I really enjoy, because the Arctic setting just kind of brings a new element to these horror stories, and I think just the Arctic setting in general has something terrifying in and of itself already, because it's the snow, it's really dark throughout parts of the year, and then like very bright and the sun doesn't set for another part of the year, and it's all kind of confusing anyway. And I think if it's described right, it can really bring something more to the horror just through the setting, and all of these stories kind of played with that element, which I really enjoyed. All in all, the collection has 9 stories in it, so I think I will update you again once I've read the next 3, and then again when I'm finished. It's already completely dark again. I just can't with winter. But I have read another 3 stories from Taaqtumi, one of which was interestingly a lot longer than the others. Most of the stories I've read so far were between like 10 to 20 pages, but this one was around 50, I think. So it actually takes up about a third of the short story collection. But it was quite an interesting one. It was called, let me see, just in case you're interested as well, Lounge. And it really reminded me of Jeff Vandermeer's work, because it was set in a like futuristic setting with a lot of sci-fi elements and like some mind altering and interesting creatures. So yeah, it really reminded me especially of his Born series. Funnily enough, the story before that, Revenge, also reminded me of a book that I've read this year. It reminded me of Terror because it made use of a creature from Inuit mythology, and I really liked that story because of that. And then the third one that I read was a really interesting take on a zombie story. So as you can probably tell, I am still very much enjoying this short story collection, and I'm surprised by how different the stories are. Even though they are all Arctic horror stories, they really range from going back in time to going into the future, having supernatural creatures or even zombies, to more like ghost story style. So it really has a lot of different things in this collection. And what I also wanted to mention about the language aspect is Inuit language is used throughout these stories. Often they just use like separate words in the stories, and I think that is a really interesting way to kind of give them more depth and also refer back to certain concepts and myths that are specific to this culture. And there is also a glossary in the back explaining all of the words and also giving you a guide on how to pronounce them, which is really, really nice, and also means that I finally found out how to pronounce Taaqtumi. Apparently the talk is emphasized, and yeah, that is what I wanted to say about the language aspect. Not that I have to justify myself why I wanted to read this book for the language prompt, but I think it fits very well, and I'm also enjoying the language aspect of the stories. This light is really not very kind to me. Anyway, it is time for me to read the last 3 stories and then tell you what I think about the whole collection. I finished Taaqtumi, and again the last 3 stories were very different from each other and the previous ones. One took on the theme of climate change, one was about a cannibal, and one was about haunting secrets. I have to say I absolutely loved this collection. It had so many things and themes that I absolutely love in stories. As I said, it had some stories that reminded me of favorite books of mine, and it was just really the perfect scary winter read. So even though I don't often give anthologies 5 stars, this one will definitely get 5 stars from me. And that also means that I finished the 1000 Doors Readathon and managed to read 5 books in a week. I wasn't sure that I would be able to make it because I did also have uni and a lot of other things going on during this week. And to be fair, I read some very short books, but I'm still quite proud that I managed to finish in a week because it's now Sunday, 8:30, and I'm done. And this was so much fun. So just to recap quickly, I started with the prompt 5 and I read Through the Woods by Carroll for that because it contains 5 stories and it was also a 5-star read for me. Then I got the prompt I'm Back and I finished reading Night Film by Marisha Pessl for this. Unfortunately, I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, and I gave it 3 stars, I think. Then I got to the prompt Marvel, which I struggled with a bit, but then I decided to go with The Invisible Man by H.G. Wells, and again I gave it 3 stars. That then got me to the prompt Yellow, for which I read 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanff, and I'm giving this one 4 stars. And then of course I got the prompt Language and read Taaqtumi for that and gave it 5 stars. Quite a good reading week, I would say. As I said in the beginning, I will leave all of the links to the creators and the announcement videos in the description in case you want to do the readathon as well. They said it would run throughout the whole month, so you totally have more than enough time to still participate as well if you want to. It was really fun. I would really recommend it. I hope you also enjoyed following along on this reading adventure. Thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!